But do quote me on the fact that it will radically expand some of our most abused immigration programs in this country. From chain migration will become less restricted. They will be barring the use of words like illegal alien in our federal law because that's not, quote, inclusive. And the worst of all, it appears that there's going to be an 8-year amnesty plan that would entirely naturalize 11 to 22 million illegal immigrants, roughly all of them. Today, for the viewers at home, we have got coming out the second episode of our Erasing the Line series. We're doing some reporting, some long-term reporting on Joe Biden's comprehensive immigration package, which some folks have told us is really just an attempt to re-engineer our entire immigration system. It's a mess, and it is apparently so messy, in fact, that Democrats are not particularly fond of it on the Hill. We have an up-and-coming Capitol Hill Republican told us this morning. That would be Representative Burgess Owens, a Trump ally. Yes, sir. Former NFL star who was elected last fall. And he essentially told us this morning, he confirmed some previous reports that the Democrats on the Hill are going to be delaying this bill as long as they possibly can. Right now, at the very least, they won't be taking it on and taking it to the floor this month. That is for certain. Burgess Owens told us via statement this morning, even some Democrats don't support attempts by the Biden administration to unilaterally re-engineer our immigration system. Immigration reform is a complicated issue, as demonstrated by the crisis at our southern border. For this reason, Congress should take the leading role in updating our immigration laws. A bipartisan and deliberate approach will guarantee a fair, safe, and responsible result for all. Now, we spoke about this a couple weeks ago when the bill first got trotted out. The White House forwarded it to the House Democrats, and the House Democrats introduced it on February 16th, I believe, possibly the 17th. Don't quote me on that. But do quote me on the fact that it will radically expand some of our most abused immigration programs in this country. From chain migration will become less restricted. They will be barring the use of words like illegal alien in our federal law because that's not, quote, inclusive. And the worst of all, it appears that there's going to be an 8-year amnesty plan that would entirely naturalize 11 to 22 million illegal immigrants, roughly all of them. With full voting rights by the end of that 8-year period. Absolutely ridiculous. But recent reports from Politico last week indicated that some folks in the Democratic caucus said that the bill is not quite ready. That is a direct quote. It is not quite ready, and that is an understatement.
Yeah, that sounds more like the House is not quite ready than maybe the bill.
Yes. Yeah. So apparently the initial attempt to whip up votes and see who would support the plan as it stood when it was introduced were, quote, dismal. They didn't even give the results to the reporters at Politico, but it's not good. And there is quite a bit of grappling in the back channels right now on the Hill with the Democrats in the Progressive Caucus, trying to see if they can still kind of force it along with the more moderate Democrats saying that they don't want to do so. So what I wanted to forward to you guys first is just this bill and the Democratic kind of the moderacy and the willingness to kind of be a little bit more calculated. Is that a good thing for us, or is that a bad thing for us on the right? With, you know, we talked for weeks and weeks about how hopefully Biden would kind of show his hand, be a little bit more progressive, and it would look good for us in 2022 and 2024. Is it bad that we're seeing essentially the Democrats temper themselves a little bit to avoid the political backlash?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, politically, will it be bad for us in upcoming elections? It could be, but I don't see them tempering themselves enough. Like, it's still going to be extremely radical. They're still letting in so many people, giving citizenship to so many people. Sure, they can temper themselves a little bit, but we know, you know, Biden's made it clear what his agenda is, and that's not something a lot of Americans are willing to stand behind. So, in the end, I think it's a good thing because maybe those policies won't actually come to fruition, or at least not in the form that they were first proposed as, which was extremely radical. So yeah, it's a good thing, and it's not going to be enough to, you know, get people to think that they're no longer radical all of a sudden. So.
I tend to think that anything that allows something to get passed through Congress is a bad thing.
I would have to agree.
The less that Congress does,
the better.
The better, in my opinion. And I've been reading recently a number of people on both sides of the aisle stating the opinion essentially that comprehensive immigration reform is the wrong way to go. That those kinds of bills they're too complex. They always are loaded with unintended consequences. That they're just problematic in a lot of ways. And so I've been seeing a lot of people suggesting just small, how about a guest worker program? How about we just start with that? Or, nailing down the asylum rules, or, whatever, that changing quotas, whatever those things might be, but recommending a more of a piecemeal approach. Look, the immigration system is broken. I don't think anybody could disagree with that. I think both left and right believe that to be true. They believe it's broken in different ways for different reasons, but they think it's broken. So, I guess anything that moves us to something of a less broken system that protects American sovereignty, I suppose I would be in favor of. And I'm not a big guy to, I'm not a political calculator. So what the effects of that would be, and here's the truth. I think what the effects of that would be in 2022 and 2024 would largely have to do with the messaging of it, right? So if Pelosi can come up with this little piece of a bill, whatever it is, and people think it's useful and she can claim credit for it, then she's going to win in 2022. And if Republicans can somehow claim credit for it in a credible way, then they're going to win. So I think it has so much more to do, unfortunately, wrongly, but I think it has so much more to do with messaging than the material aspects of the bill.